Evening all. We're still playing Dragon Warriors. We're down Sir Lane, so we'll just assume he's kind of lurking in the background and not doing much. And one of the other players is going to be a little bit late, so we'll just pop him in when he comes along. We're all grown-ups, we can suspend our disbelief like that. So, right, where we tailed off last time, our noble heroes had cleared out the marble over the course of a whole day of hard graft, and were finally descending down into the temple beneath Zathos. So we join our adventurers, wending and squeezing their way down between the broken blocks of marble into the underworld beneath the temple. You cautiously descend into the ruins. Several minutes later, the stairs finally end in a cramped crossroads, from which 3 dark passageways lead off to your right, left, and straight ahead. Ubertino lights the lantern and holds it high, so everyone can see. The corridor's broad enough for 2 of you to walk abreast. The tunnels here are well made but old, and these ones look like they've been exposed to the elements a bit more. It'll probably be more intact deeper into the dungeon, but here rotting leaves and so on have been washed down by the rain and form a thin layer of soil almost over the top of the marble and make it all grimy and cracked and worn. There's a few little knobs of fungus growing here and there in the corners where the dampness stays for longer.
Is there plaster with the frescoes?
There may have been at one time, but if there was, the damp has sloughed it off the walls. There may be some intact deeper in.
Right to the left then, shall we?
As is tradition.
I think I'll... I think... Should I lead?
You're the next highest rank.
Yeah, I'll lead, yeah. Yeah,
And there isn't any other nobility or anything here. So.
The least subtlest person in the party. I should go first.
Right. Ubertino moves up behind you. Probably Cesora can stand in front with you as well. And Almiro and Semprino stay behind, guarding Keridon. Okay, so you pace down this corridor slowly. As you get further away from the stairs, the muck and grime starts to disappear. And you enter a broader hallway, about 2 to 3 times as wide as the corridor. The passageway ends in a long room of marble tiles and granite walls that lie below a high vaulted ceiling, which rises some 20 feet above. All of that, walking down the stairs, makes sense. In the darkness, you can make out many dusty cobwebs, and a pair of doors constructed from fig wood and marble lie before you, at the far end of the hall.
I'll bring Cyclops out and have a look around, see if there's any illusions, Jim.
Okay.
In terms of continuity from where we left off last time, this is just moments later, is that correct? We haven't had a rest period or anything?
Well, you had a rest period, and it was overnight by the time you finished clearing all the marble out, so there's that. Right. You don't see any illusions. Does anyone have a perception higher than 8?
Yes.
Okay. In the light of the lantern, and looking around as you are, you can't see any illusions, but you can see that the stones that make up the ceiling of this hallway are badly fitted and cracked in comparison to the rest of the stonework in this room.
In what way are they cracked? Are they like cracked with old age or cracked because of nature? Or?
It looks like the sheer weight and time has split minute fractures into larger cracks in the stone.
Possibly minor earthquakes. Sorry
yeah,
for
quite possibly. So you think even the slightest movement may cause the ceiling to collapse.
that. Ooh. And how large is this space? How much ceiling are we facing? Like, it's a massive ceiling, yes?
Yeah, it's a big ceiling. The room is about 30 to 40 feet long and about 20 feet high.
I highly recommend we stick to the edges of one or the other of the walls if we pass through here, because it will have almost certainly the most load-bearing stability compared to the other sections of the ceiling, which could easily cave in and down. I'm wondering if I have any spells that might help. Let me check here.
Using my noggin, Grim, what's above us?
Above you. Hang on.
Would it be the massive big so-called room, which was the main hub to the temple?
Hang on. I think there's no map for what's up there. No, you've lost your bearings really on the long trip down, so you're not entirely sure.
Good, dude. Is there anything supporting the ceiling, or is it just?
Oh, it was. No, it's well. There's sort of half columns at the side of the room, but there's nothing directly supporting the ceiling. It was very carefully engineered back in the day.
Yeah. Oh, look. Oh. What's your ideas then, Becca?
Travel it. So let's try to avoid springing it, shall we?
Is it cracks all over the place, or is it specifically in one place, Grim?
It's cracked all over the place, and you suspect that once it starts going, the rest will follow with it. It'll pull the rest down with it.
Like the halls of Russia come down.
Do you have anything you could use to reinforce it, perhaps? Or
I'm trying to think.
I don't notice anything at my disposal that would help. There's nothing I recognize. And we have to pass through this room to continue. Is that correct?
Well, you've got the other corridors you could take, but yeah, to get any further down here, you'll have to go across and open the door, which will probably cause the roof to collapse if you can't find some way to stop it.
Is there any roof holders or column pillars we can use?
Is there any what, sorry?
Any column pillars we can use?
They're not really tall enough. The half columns at the sides of the room are only about 10 feet tall, and the big arch of the ceiling is about 20 feet up. So you'd need something about 20 feet tall to prop it up.
I also suspect that even if we had the ability to move some of these massive weights around, one slip or one wrong move or maybe one subsonic vibration by scraping a massive weight along the floor or something, right? It might set up a resonance and cause an inward collapse. I think before we move this way, we might want to suss out where the other passages go so we can map a way out in case this area collapses.
Sounds like
we want to be able to see if there's any backtracked ways through some of these other corridors and whatnot, so we have a way back and out.
FAB.
Okay, everyone agreed?
Yep.
Okay, so you cautiously retreat from the hallway and head back to the crossroads. So your choices are up the steps and out, back the way you came, to the south, or straight ahead.
It's up to you, Becca.
Straight ahead, shall we?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You pass along another short corridor this time, through the muck, and again it starts to get cleaner. And the corridor empties out into a wide hall. The walls are carved with intricate marble relief sculptures, upon which vibrant paints have been daubed. They're still as bright as the day they were painted back here, away from the elements. The colourful sculptures depict nymphs and hippocampi in procession, with dolphins and great seashells. Dust coats the floor, through which you can make out a striking mosaic of tiles, forming the image of a trident set against a crashing wave. At the end of this corridor is another set of double doors that appear to be constructed with fig wood and thin bronze plates. The plates are stamped with imprints of conch shells.
I'll swish my sword around to see if there's any illusions in here.
Okay. You take hold of your sword and look around. You see no illusions, and the ceiling in here appears to be intact.
Music.
Brother Abbas has arrived.
Hello, sorry, I finished earlier than I thought I was going to.
Huzzah! Okay, we're down in the dungeon. They went
Well-
one way and it looked a bit dodgy, so they decided
Right.
not to go that way. Now they've gone back the other way and staring blankly at a door, I think.
Did you bring the beer and crisps? Beer and crisps for you, Abbas?
I have the Holy Pringles.
The Holy
got
Pringles
pretzels.
of Antioch.
Exactly.
I've got pictures of Poseidon.
Do you want me to put my hand on? Do you want me to put my hand on the door and see if I can get a feeling?
Yeah, check for track.
Okay, make a percentage roll to vibe the door.
I'm level 5 these days, aren't I? Rank
Aye.
5, sorry. So that's under 30, under 45. Right. Oh, missed it by 1 point. I got 46.
You sense nothing but mournful echoes and a sense of anger and sadness, but nothing more.
Is this like in a temple, Grim?
Is this like what? Sorry?
In a temple? Because you've got the upper temple upstairs, which is like for all the townsfolk.
Yeah.
And this room here could be a inner temple, if it makes sense, like for the clergy, priests, etc.
Yes. It seems likely that this lower temple was for initiates. Also, you know the legend that it was a storeroom for these magical artifacts and so forth. But yeah, this is probably the place where the mysteries and the trials and the initiated secrets were.
What are the statues made out? Marble?
Yep, they're marble. So are the tiles on the walls, much of the ceiling, everything pretty much is white marble.
Is there any like glyphs or anything on the walls, on the tiles?
Just what I already described. The sort of the carvings, the reliefs, the seashells and the figures, the nymphs and hippocampi.
What's a hippocampi?
It's
A hippocampi is like a seahorse, but with an actual horse's body up above and like a seahorse-like tail below, I think.
yeah, it's
right.
similar to the one version of the Kairin in China, but yeah, it's a seahorse where the horse part is actually a horse, really.
So it's basically like a hybrid kelpie.
Yeah, a bit like a kelpie.
Kind of like a centaur, seahorse, mermaid kind of thing. A horse with a mermaid bottom, like that.
Yeah. Whereas a campy hippo is has the top has the top half of a mermaid and the bottom half of a horse.
Yes,
Oh,
it
God.
is.
I'll
Right.
check the door now.
That
Since
can't be a hippo. Oh my God! You just described a Canadian. Oh, anyway.
Since our thief came back with negative, I'll go over the door just to give it a second time going over, just to be on the safe side.
Okay, roll a d20 under your perception.
Okay, well I've got lockpick, but okay.
Yeah, but
D20
you said you
under
were
my
checking out the
perception.
door.
Yep. I get. Oh, surprise, surprise! 5.
5.
Yep.
Okay. You
Section
don't
14.
think there's any traps, nor is there a lock, so you ease the door open.
Oh, cool.
Past these doors is a storeroom, which looks like it was at one time full of all kinds of goodies, but is currently full of broken amphora, long perished sacks, mould, mushrooms, perished and crumbling wooden shelving, and stained and degenerated cloth, which may at one time have been togas.
I'll use my sword carefully at the progress, just like shift through them.
There's nothing illusory here, and when you turn over the piles, all you get for your trouble is clouds of mold spores.
Alright, so no keys or anything.
No, and there's no way on from this room.
Okay. Come back out quietly. Ah. Oh. Just a storeroom, Becca. Just a storeroom.
Okay. Which leaves you one remaining alternative other than getting past the room with the dodgy ceiling.
Yep.
Okay.
Brother Abbas, what do you know about ancient Emphidor, by the way? Not a lot.
Gesundheit.
Yeah, so not a great deal.
No.
Yeah. You'd have general knowledge that it was an ancient island empire that preceded the Selentine Empire and is the analogue of ancient Greece, but that's it.
As I said, explore island for the gods.
Right. You meander down the southern corridor, which comes to an abrupt halt after about 30 metres, and is blocked by a massive pile of stone and earth that appears to be the result of an ancient rockfall following one of the earthquakes, no doubt. It would take you estimate, at least another 2 days to dig through the pile here to find out whatever there is beyond it.
Out with Cyclops again? Is that an illusion or is it real?
It's real.
Okay.
May I ask a little bit about this grimoire of Mistress Edas and Apprentice Scrimkin? It has a listing of items in it ranked 1 to 10. Are
Yes,
these
those are spells which you have to learn during downtimes, basically.
okay? Is there any way to cast them from the book, or would they burn up like a scroll, or?
No, there's no way to cast them from the book. You have to internalize the
Okay.
magic.
I understand. Thank you. I'm wondering if one of my oracular dweomers, to use a fancy word, might help us determine if we should even bother with this corridor or not. Right, digging it out would take up 2 days and a lot of time. So I have here. What about that skull we have? Would it? Does it have any oracular powers, or just knowledge, like conversational knowledge?
She has knowledge, conversational knowledge, magical knowledge, but and it can see and hear and all of that, but it can't actually cast anything or really do anything.
Okay. To get an obscure answer. Oracle, last 1 minute. Ask 3 yes/no questions, 75% chance of answer. Should I perhaps prepare a list of 3 questions? Maybe we'll suss out 3 potential paths and find out, is this path the best for us to take in order to... And what are we doing? Do we know what we're recovering yet? Has Garcias explained to us?
No, he hasn't.
Prize? No.
And he is still with you.
Okay, I think it's time for us to engage in a bit of conversation with Garcias. Do you want to take the lead, Becca, or anyone else?
Well, yeah. So, Garcia, you've been quite coy about what you're here for.
Yes.
It may help you a great deal if you share some information with us.
He ponders.
I mean, let me ask you a question. So you are not a stranger to the occult arts, are you? You've conjured wolfmen for your delectation, and you are a man of hidden talents.
Yes, many hidden talents.
Our talents are not hidden. Look at us. We are we are highly skilled, well equipped, highly motivated people. So just tell us what it is that you want to get, and we'll get it for you. We have no need to undercut you, to steal it from you, to sell it to Milano. Look, we have all that we need. You know, we have a castle, a townhouse, gold,
Servants.
magic items, servants. Just tell us, treat us as equals, and this is going to end well.
He really seems to be struggling with whether to tell you or not.
Can I add an intimidation roll into that?
Yes, you can.
It was a bit edgy.
Yeah.
10.
So that's under your looks, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a stern Pennington Bareface.
Okay. 1 second, I'm trying to find the actual stats on the thing. Very well. There are many treasures said to be here. A truly magnificent magical short sword, a shield that's enormously powerful and shields the bearer as though they were a colossus. A javelin with an enormously powerful attack. There's said to be a shell necklace that can protect one from all mental subversion. A trident, as one would expect of Poseidon, but the prize that I seek is the compass of the eternal sea. It can guide you to anywhere and anything you desire with pinpoint accuracy. If I have that compass in my possession, fortune and power is mine, in a way that you, as adventurers, don't seem to be as interested in. I want to show those spiteful, horrendous houses just what a true merchant I can be.
Interesting. But finding a place and getting there is one thing.
The legend is that it does guide you to that place safely.
Yeah. Filling your ship with valuable goods and leaving alive is quite another. That's what we specialise in.
So you're asking for more work?
Well, I mean, I think we could have a profitable relationship.
Yes.
So,
whether things work out here or not, I'm sure we can have a long, profitable relationship.
So I'm only a simple barbarian from the frozen wastes. So what you're telling me is that is a story that grandmothers tell their children that this is the armory of the gods.
Yes.
divinely crafted arms and armour and items.
Yes. From ancient gods. Or so it's said, or at least demigods, or powerful sorcerers, or whatever they were, but they were thought of as gods. And they've lain here untouched for millennia.
Yeah, that's the part that intrigues me. If they're so powerful and sought after, why would they be left untouched?
Well, you saw the trouble we had bringing the ship as close as we did, and navigating the rocks around this island. And then there are the tales of the curses and so on. I understand that we're different to most people. Stories of curses and hauntings appeal to us. They bring us like a moth to a flame, but to most, they do not. And even those that have come here have found it on the rocks. But we've made it, and we now have an opportunity.
Who is it among your rivals that might know about this, and who should we be prepared to surprise us? I presume you made this discovery with at least one other person being aware of it, who may not have made it into your...
Milano is the only other one that knows the full story.
And as per our verbal contract, and did we have a written contract, Jim? With
Yes, you did. You insisted on one, remember?
As per our contract, of course, the compass is by default yours.
And half of everything else is yours.
All right. Well,
And I
have
believe-
you any idea? Yes, go ahead.
I believe Milano insisted on 5% for himself.
Of course. Have you any idea about the layout of these buildings? Had you any sources of maybe literature or rhymes or artworks or so on that would indicate whereabouts this might be, other than us blindly stumbling?
Sadly, my sources of accurate information ceased once we hit the shoreline. My sources have taken us past the rocks, that's as much as I know. Though I may be able to offer some small advice as we move on. I have been reading up on Infidor.
Then perhaps before I resort to a method of divination to maybe augur our way, we can rely upon your mundane knowledge first.
Well, it will take us a long time to clear this area, and there's no guarantee that this is what will lead us down into the even deeper, more secret parts of the temple. So I would suggest that we try and find a way past the broken ceiling, because if that collapses, either way we're going to be digging.
Yes, let's try the broken bridge technique, one at a time. Lightest first.
We're not sending my daughter ahead first.
Well, except for her, yeah.
Yes, that's yes. Okay. What about continuing to map another way out, as I recommended before, perhaps with the other path?
Well, you've checked every path now, so you can go back up the stairs and out. The southern passageway ended in a rock fall, which will take about 40 man hours, to clear. So, well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's what, seven of you, 8 if you count Garcias, and I wouldn't. So it could take you maybe 5, 6 hours to clear that out. But that's a lot of hard graft. The store. Go on.
I'm sorry, I went off. From the appearance of the decorative work here, the quality of the stonework, or so on, does it appear as we're getting closer and closer to more important parts of this complex? Are there any visual cues like that?
So far, not.
Okay.
No, the storeroom was fairly fancily decorated, and the hallway with the high arched ceilings, is fairly fancily decorated. This area isn't.
I suspect then it's the ceiling, gents. That would kind of be like a throat leading into the belly of the beast, as it were. Should we make our way back there then, and follow that plan of the lightest of our scouting cadre first?
Yeah.
All right, Becca, lead on.
She's not the lightest.
Yeah.
It's probably Caesura, actually. He's wee, but he's wiry.
Okay.
So is Caesura going to make his way across the room?
Tippy toes, yeah.
Tippy toes. Okay. All right. You creep across the room, glacially slowly, and reach the far side. The doors are closed. Can you roll a d20 equal to or under your perception score, please?
3.
Right. The doors are rattling slightly backwards and forwards. It looks like there's a simple bar, and you sort of turn the handle and lift the bar. But it feels like the air pressure behind the door is a bit higher. Like the difference between closing a door in a house with the front door open or not. There's air pressure behind this. If you open the door, you think the air pressure equalization will probably be enough to bring the roof down.
Then we should probably all cross over towards the doorway before we open it. Yes?
Yep. That way you'd be sort of under the frame of the door and shouldn't run into too much trouble.
I'll go next. I'll start tippy-toeing my way across.
Okay. You could all tippy-toe your way across nice and quietly and shuffle in as close to the door as you can. And then open the door.
Once we're sheltered, or we feel we're adequately sheltered as best we'll gather, yes, we should throw open the doors.
So
Okay.
are we gonna rush through the door once it's opened?
That seems like a good plan. Right. So you throw open the door and all barge through. There's a rush of slightly stale, salty air that comes flying out. And as the air pressure sort of equalizes, your ears pop a little bit and the ceiling collapses. Okay. What is Caesura's evasion? Dude, what's Caesura's evasion?
8.
8. Okay.
Sorry, I'd forgotten to mute there, and I rattled some dice.
That's fine. Okay, Caesura's through fine as the roof collapses behind him. What's Becca's evasion?
Her evasion is 7.
Okay, Becca's through fine. What's Caradan's evasion?
4.
Right, it's a close run thing, but you managed to tuck your cloak out the way of the falling rubble before it hits you.
I was ready for certain doom.
So are these slabs of marble so big and heavy that they almost fall in slow motion?
It seems like it. Right, and what's Abbas's evasion?
4 as well.
Okay, you guys are all alright.
Garcias gets squashed!
No, Garcias gets through okay.
Uh-oh.
No. Ubertino, your shield bearer, is the only one who doesn't manage to get through. He heroically shoves Garcias' daughter forward out of the way, and a giant piece of masonry slams down on him. And You're all peppered with fragments of him. Crunch.
Is it obviously like he's smucked into jelly and he's done?
Yeah,
Or?
he's so dead.
Okay.
There's a grease spot on the floor.
Yeah, he's Orc at the Battle of Minas Tirith being hit with architecture flat.
Or as I say in Mortal Kombat, fatality.
Yes. Yeah, he is very, very flat.
Is it
I'll look up at Semprino and Elmiro.
They cross themselves and utter a small prayer.
Did he have a betrothed or any children?
He was married with 8 children.
We'll play the Rare Guild when we get home.
Little Gina was just born. It's a tragedy.
One dies, one is born.
Mind you, says Almiro, she's a good-looking widow.
Oh, God.
You can both rest easy knowing that we'll make his family right, and should the same happen to you, you will be treated with no less grace.
That makes our imminent doom much more tolerable. Thank you.
Perhaps a short prayer, Abbas?
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, rest in peace, and all that stuff.
They must be pure blue-blooded British to have such a stiff upper lip and such a nonchalant attitude. That makes our impending doom much more palatable. Fantastic.
They're being polite.
I know.
Right, the passageway behind you is now completely blocked off with massive chunks of masonry and earth and some columns and other bits that seem to have fallen down from above. But you have little time to contemplate that you're now shut in, because this room that you're in is really quite impressive. There are 2 huge statues of Tritons, each 3 meters tall, and fine examples of amphibian craft. They stand on either side of the room. In the centre is a small plinth that's carved to resemble a pair of dolphins. Beyond that, on the far side, lie 2 massive stone doors with veins of black that run throughout their surface, barring your way forward.
Garcias,
Yes.
do you know, or can you even calculate how valuable much of this would be to collectors back in your homeland?
Beyond measure, but we don't have the means to remove it.
But we can work towards it, can we not? I think we should maybe launch a new a new co-investment and perhaps, because if you have the means to find your way back here, we have capital that we can invest in the endeavor. We might make incredibly handsome returns.
Yes, these would look fine in some fountain square in Pheromane. Perhaps the Doge will pay. Yes, this is a good idea. I will remember it. He remains lurking at the back, wary of everything, with his hands on his daughter's shoulder as he sort of casts his look around.
Kerrigan. Did he say earlier that he told Milano the whole plan? He did, didn't he?
I don't perfectly recall.
Yeah, and he was very clear that he didn't really trust us, but he trusted Milano enough to tell him the whole story. But they were adversaries. Certainly, Milano didn't trust him.
His daughter didn't trust her father? That's what you mean by him? She doesn't trust...
No,
Garcias?
Milano didn't trust...
Oh, Milano, our go-between. Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
I think your wish will be granted. I think there'll be a fleet of ships waiting for us if and when we depart.
So you mean there may be lying in wait?
Yes.
Okay. That's maybe something we should perhaps cast into the future to find out about when the time is right.
This place is far too dangerous to go in, so they've sent us. But if we bring this gear out, then it's in the open, isn't it? And they've just got to take it from us.
Well, I'm not necessarily convinced of that. I don't know if we should necessarily be immediately suspect, at least not aggressively so. But we should be wary, certainly, in any dealings with someone who we don't count as a true friend.
All right, let's crack on then.
Yes. I will, when the time is right, when we perhaps have a rest or whatnot, I will meditate on this and try and seek some truth.
Oh, Jack was in the chat. Didn't see him there. He's got to be up early, so he couldn't really play. That's the trouble. Right. So yeah, you have your brief conflab. Garcias simply waits and watches with growing impatience as you discuss and sort of look around the room. Is it safe to move ahead?
I think it may be, but we should perhaps cast about here for hidden chambers or whatnot, because the further we penetrate the innards of this complex, the more likely it is a simple diversionary tactic in how we move through this space would have been employed to hide the true path to the maybe innermost sacred chambers. So we should be on the lookout for.
Okay. Well, Cesora can check the room over with his illusion disrupting sword.
Yep.
But doesn't see any illusions, and nothing immediately seems to spring to the eye as a secret door or anything.
Okay.
The dolphins that form this sort of plinth in the center of the room, that plinth doesn't seem to be set into the floor in the same way as the rest of the tiles. It's separated from them. There's no cement holding it in place. There's an air gap around the outside of it.
Aha!
I'll mention that. I walk up to it cautiously, Grim.
Okay.
Tap the dolphins with my sword. Are they solid or?
Yeah, they're solid. Your sword just kind of taps off it, really.
Hmm.
Perhaps a bit of rope. We can loop it around an upper portion of the statue and maybe tilt it back. Maybe it reveals a section of stone or whatnot, or a door or a portal. Perhaps it slides or lifts up on some ingenious contraption. Look at the engineering displayed here.
Okie doke. Who's got the elven rope?
Don't know who had the elven rope. Wasn't it you, actually?
Well, I've looked at my card sheet. I don't seem to have it.
Okay. Well, someone's got it. All right. You wrap the elven rope around the plinth of the dolphins and haul on it. The plinth sort of moves very slightly, tips almost imperceptibly in the direction that you're pulling, but that's all that happens.
That certainly is some progress. Perhaps a little bit of friction alleviation. Would glissade work to help with that, or?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Suspend the magic points.
Yes, I will. I'll just note that down.
Okay, so you pass your hand across the plinth. It goes starry with frost that grows all over it and around it and down into the air gap. How many people are pulling on this plinth?
We should
Well, I'm
probably
looking
have
really-
as many people as we can, since there was resistance beforehand.
Okay, so you employ everybody to pull. Alright, you give a great big heave-ho. It tips a little more, then very, very slowly sort of slides out of the floor and then tips over with a crash onto the tiles. There's like a stone square plug on the bottom of it. And where it was, there's like a socket carved out of marble, and there's water now bubbling up out of that.
Is it fast? Is it slow? Or...
Quite slow, but it's steady, constant.
That can't be good, right? If that was meant as an ingenious trap, it is an ingenious trap.
I was hoping it's a. Well, we hoping it was a secret stairwell.
Yeah.
That's what I was hoping to discover. But of course, being that Poseidon is a god of the sea, wouldn't it make sense for anyone to perhaps have to pass through that through a sea, through that physical manifestation of his element, as it were, for even as an act of devotion to pass through into whatever might be below. Perhaps, I could imagine they would have been very good divers, maybe with excellent lung capacity and whatnot. So I'm wondering if we should dive down below. Who among us is a strong swimmer?
The slot is probably too small for any of you to swim down.
Okay, then that's a little different.
The water continues to well up and rapidly fills the small air gap up and starts to spill out across the floor, slowly in a puddle.
Oh, what other exits are there?
The doors or the big pile of rubble.
Should we try blocking this up with some rubble? I mean, it'll slow perhaps by half or even down even to 10% the fill rate.
Yeah, we could try that, yeah.
Okay, you can cram a few of the smaller bits of rubble into this sort of square hole.
Just as the first few pieces go in, I'll stop, and actually we should put some cloth down there first, right? Like I'll just take my cloak, make a pouch,
Yeah.
plug that up itself, right?
Yeah.
Maybe tie a couple of rocks in and put it down further, and then
Yeah.
plug it up and really, really pack it tightly like an abscess tooth.
Yeah. Okay, and you start piling rubble on top of it. The weight of the rubble seems to push it down even deeper, and the wet wool of your cloak swells up with the moisture and forms an airtight seal. You sort of just put in what you think should be the last bit of rubble, or that should be enough to hold it for now, and the whole thing sinks slightly more. All the rubble and everything sinks down slightly more into the square hole, and the doors on the opposite side creak slightly and open by like a centimetre.
Oh my. We just found an unlocking mechanism.
No, you just broke the unlocking mechanism.
And never now fixed it.
Well, we've got crowbars and other such in our kit. Yes, we can leverage that door open, no problem.
Well, I mean, yeah.
They're huge stone doors. They're not really amenable to a crowbar.
All right, then let's see what I can do here in terms of moving a massive weight. I'm gonna.
Well, it's just ram some more rocks in this hole. Yeah, push it down further.
Becca grabs a larger piece of rubble, crams it down into the hole, and the doors open a bit more.
All right, that's the solution. I'll help any way I can.
Yeah.
While they're doing that, I'm going to quickly try and vibe the door.
Okay. Make a vibe roll.
Yay, 9% this time. That's better.
What does vibe the door mean? Does that parlance come to the game itself for Dragon Warrior?
It's just what we've come up with. Basically, he, as a mystic, he's able to sort of get vague readings and warning signs about things some of the time. Sorry, you did succeed, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Okay, you sense a potential danger, something lurking that may or may not affect you.
I'll tell the rest of the group that.
Okay. So there's something there, but something dangerous, but we may be able to avoid it, is what that boils down to. Okay, with a lot more rubble shoved down into the hole, the doors open enough for you to be granted admittance to the next chamber. This is a square chamber. There's an open archway with some steps leading down into the next chamber beyond it. In here, though, excuse me, the walls of this large chamber reach high into another vaulted ceiling, this one covered with bright blue paint, which is somewhat patchy and faded now. In the centre of the room, you can see a large, shallow pool of fairly clear water, surrounded by 6 slim marble pillars. Extending around the perimeter of the room, a number of torch brackets dot the walls at regular intervals, though obviously they're not lit. A strange smell hangs in the air, and at the far end of the hall is an archway with steps down. There are tatters of long perished cloth hanging across there, forming a rude curtain.
Is the odor identifiable in any way with some pondering and deep sniffs?
Un momento.
See.
Make a d20 roll equal to or under your perception.
Okay. 8 or less. 3.
It's the smell that lingers after you concoct a hide-on potion.
Oh dear.
So water that has undergone alchemical purification, seldom air.
Because well, that yes, I'll say, everyone stop just a moment. That smell. Garcias, Abbas,
Garcia shrugs.
think. What does it remind you of, or something that you may have read about? Think. Sniff again. Kind of, rather than directly through the nose, much as you would use your peripheral vision. Try and kind of an unfocused.
Just tell us, says Garcias.
Well, there's no fun in that, but it's hide on water.
Oh, that's on the tip of my tongue, yes. I don't know what the blazes hide on water is.
It creates elementals. Water elementals, specifically.
To me, that would also seem to indicate, now I can't craft a hide on, but it isn't a stretch to imagine that scent may exist in natural elementals from their own plane, or ones that may have been bound somehow permanently in service here by magics beyond ours. We should be on the lookout for anything like that.
Yeah, you'd think that kind of thing would be a defender of this kind of temple if it's
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Becca was
What
going
next?
to switch weapons to the elemental sword.
Yeah.
Right?
Upon seeing Becca do that, actually, Cesora then would just nod, yes, actually. We should be in mind of anything we have that would be, of course, antithetical to water. So if you have any fiery weapons or incantations or scrolls at the ready.
Now, from what I understood of before we opened the door, my feeling of this room did indicate we may be able to avoid whatever danger is in here. So don't overtly attack it if we come across it, is what I'm saying.
That's actually quite smart. Perhaps you and Cesora can maybe suss together a plan for us to maybe sneak our way through here as best we can.
I was thinking sticking a bucket overhead, but there you go. Jim, what did you say about a curtain? Sorry.
Yeah, there's a ragged curtain across the archway on the other side.
Like tattered, faded remnants like you'd find in a Fallout 3 trailer park bunker. Trailer park home, right?
Ancient Greek temple, ruined trailer park, same thing.
I don't see no rednecks in Greek temples.
Homer in a toga.
You from Athens, boy? We don't take to Athenians round here.
But no, I think toga part. I think John Belushi in Animal House.
Or the Monty Python crew. But yeah, John Belushi was good.
Little green fellas. We call them goblins.
I'm gonna put on my special gauntlet just in case. I don't know why. You never know. I very timidly walk up to the fountain.
Okay, as you approach the pool, there you see that there's two large gilt abalone shells on either side. Both of them seem to have been very carefully plated in silver. As you take that in, the water ripples and surges, and an enormous man-like form rises up out of the water, made of water, rippling and churning and splashing, and bellows something at you in ancient Ophidian.
Propina Pete Tadiera Neragiana Cathariseteton Aftos Asprin Betisto Esoterico.
Or something to that effect.
Hang on. Becca grabs for the lid of Typhon. Did you catch the end of that sentence?
Yes, the end of the sentence. So yeah, let's see how quick.
I'll ask our skull again. What did he just
Okay.
say?
Blah, blah, blah. Sacred waters to purify yourselves before entering the inner sanctum.
Thank you.
Been a lot of
There's
people.
some pretty heavy-duty breathing going over the sound here.
It's Old School's fan. He just forgot to remute. That's all.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Yes, it's a bath. We're
thought it
invited to bathe.
I thought it was an added sound effect.
Yeah,
Bathe.
it's so. Do we use the shells to wash? Like
There's
a
only
Japanese.
two seashells. You need three seashells.
Oh, yeah.
No, not demolition.
Someone be watching Demolition Man.
Well,
I was hoping for a little mermaid thing, and it was going to be a female water elemental. That they cleverly disguised seashells.
check with the skull, Carrington. Check. She can speak ancient Ophidian, I'm sure. But
Thank you for prompting my memory. Yes, what is the name again? I'm sorry. If had I been there for the session and I wasn't, that's my fault. I would have remembered her name. The skull. Where's the skull here?
It's the skull of Mistress Edis.
Oh, it is of Mistress Edis.
Yes.
Okay, so at this point,
She probably speaks Amphibian, though the Celentine Empire was more her thing. Okay, so the skull on the end of your stick chatters away. It said that you must drink the sacred waters to purify yourselves before entering the inner sanctums. I'm assuming it means to drink it. I'm not sure quite what that will do for your health, but
Okay.
well, pardon, Garcias, would you do the honors for all of us to progress?
Garcia steps forward, takes one of the shells, scoops some of the water from around the feet of this thing, and takes the tiniest sip possible, and hands the shell to his daughter. And then she holds it out on her slightly trembly hand towards whoever wants it next.
I'll take it, and I'll just wait a moment, very deliberately but casually, with my body language indicating, and that I'm waiting to see if they start bubbling and foaming at the throat like they'd just ingested, a rarefied poison.
No, I think they seem to be okay.
How do you feel?
Impatient. Drink.
All right. I will fill it if it seems like an appropriate amount that someone could gulp down, maybe quite thirstily after running. So I will drink heartily of it.
Yeah.
And then pass the shell on to whoever is next to me.
It tastes rather pure, a little bit minerally, slightly effervescent.
Okay.
I'll take a drink.
Okay.
Cuxton Spring.
Is anyone not drinking of it?
Yeah, we'll all drink. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I think we've experienced this technique before, isn't it? Where you have to imbibe a protective potion to get through a barrier,
or get dipped into something protective. Yeah. This is probably preferable to dipping yourself in stuff. Okay, so you all drink, and the elemental sinks back down into the pool and becomes quiet and still again.
Right, so through the curtain then.
Yeah. It crumbles into pieces pretty much as soon as you touch it. And you pass on into a large oval chamber. You've entered a large oval room formed from marble and black granite, which rises up into a decorated dome inscribed with the patterns of crashing waves, picked out with gold and silver that twinkles in the lamplight and must have danced when it was lit by torches. Twin colonnades of beautifully fluted marble focus your attention down towards the far end of the room, where, on a large platform, raised 2 meters off the floor, sits a low altar, decorated with scallop shells, upon which a small bronze horse and a number of clay flasks can be seen. Beside the altar there are 2 archways, one to the left and one to the right. Knelt on the floor before the altar is a hunched figure, clad in a voluminous grey robe.
There's someone here.
I take it that was
Does it
whispered.
look like he's meditating for him?
He looks like he's prostrating himself before the altar. So hunched over, arms outstretched in front of him.
But wasn't this temple was sealed, wasn't it? We had to dig it out. It took us hours to. So he's been down here for a long time.
If I have a quick scan around, I can't see anything that looks enchanted or anything, can I, using my...
Let me just double check for you.
the enchantment thingamajig?
The body gives off a faint glow of magic. Otherwise, no.
I'm going to whisper to the rest of the group and that he appears to be slightly magical, whatever he is. Do you think I
What do you
should
want us
approach
to
him?
do?
As none of us can speak ancient Amphibian, it could be a bit difficult to communicate with him.
Well, he might speak our
But
language.
Mistress Edast speaks Ophidian. She can translate for us, yes?
Yeah.
If you insist.
Why is there no spell that automatically gets me the speak ancient language? I'm going to have to invent one.
So that's the kind of cheap shot you get in D&D, not here.
Well, that's true.
I was just going to say, this is the kind of game where that takes away from the story rather than adding to it, right?
Yeah. That's the kind of thing you'd have to do book research on to learn the language. That's one of the great things. Get the skill, don't get the spell.
But you do have a magical skull on a stick to act as a translator, so all is not lost.
Okay.
Excellent.
But
Will Mistress Addis speak for anyone? Like if I hand the staff off to allow.
Yeah, she'll speak for anyone.
I'll being the man of the cloth, I'll give it a whirl.
Okay, so you grab the stick and move.
I'll put it in the hand that's got my gauntlet on, just to be safe.
Just in case. Yeah, and you approach. As you get closer, the hunched figure starts to rock backwards and forwards, increasing in pace as you get closer. How close do you want to get?
Not that close. Not like an arm's length away. Greetings, friend.
Okay. The skull speaks out. He makes a sort of low, groaning noise, and Mistress Edis's skull is a little closer.
Okay, I'll get a bit closer then.
Little closer.
How close is close?
Just closer. Move. I don't have legs, otherwise I'd do it.
Okay.
Right. As you get that little bit closer, the figure suddenly turns and hurls itself towards you. He's a bloated corpse, dressed in a filth-stained robe that seems to have bonded to his skin. His flesh is so swollen that it's split in many places and is hanging loosely, with rotting fat dripping out of the holes. He opens his mouth, revealing a gob full of rotted teeth. He reeks of death, despair, and hopelessness, and what's left of his yellowed eyes burns with utter madness. So,
Whoever wrote that, they get high marks. That was fantastic.
I riffed off it a bit. So,
I'm an undead man, aren't I?
Is he undead by any chance?
he would appear to be undead of some kind.
But by any chance,
he's not going to want to approach Brother Abbas, who is like covered with holy relics.
Yes. Do any of those have any effect on stopping undead from attacking you?
Well, the reliquary of Saint Leon, I get +2 attack versus undead. I'm immune to fear. I've also got that flask of holy water.
Okay. So
That's
nothing to
about
stop
it,
it actually attacking you. So
we
it,
also have a standard bearer, do we not?
No, the chalice
Sorry for
ward undead. Yeah.
the banner bearers stood back, so that's not a great deal of help.
Okay.
The chalice does ward undead as well.
Oh yeah, but you have to do that with it, don't you? Yeah.
Present it, yes. Oh, yes, sir. Oh, sorry.
The chalice appears to have disappeared off my sheet, actually. I'm sure someone else might have.
I can see it. That's on there. Yeah, get the chalice out. That'll sort it out.
Oh, I do have that amulet of sovereignty over violence. Once per deck and halve all incoming damage.
Yeah.
If I really want to use that. Oh, sorry, yeah, backpack. Holy chalice, I found it now.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, there it is. Okay. But he's got a surprise attack on you anyway. What's your defense?
Okay. My defense is 8.
Okay. He strikes you. What's your armor level?
3.
Right. He reaches for you with these rotting, blubbery, swollen hands, but just grasps hold of the sleeve of your armor and fails to make contact with flesh. Where he touches your armor, it starts to look a little corrupted and like it's breaking down or aging rapidly with mold spreading over the surface. Right, so now we're on to normal actions. So, Caesura.
How far away is he from me?
Well, I assume the rest of you went about sort of halfway up the room, and then Brother Abbas went the rest of the way. So, 20 meters or so from you.
If I was to throw this dagger of turning someone into a skeleton, do I actually need brute strength to actually insert it in, or can I actually throw it like a dagger?
You can throw it like a dagger. Yeah, you can throw it.
Okay, I'll try throwing it from one end of the room into the end.
Okay, what's the range on a thrown dagger? Missile weapons. Dagger thrown. Medium range. So take 3 away from your attack and roll under what remains.
So what is throwing fast as the attack?
Yeah, just take 3 away from your attack and roll.
5.
Okay. What's the bonus on that dagger? Does it have any? No, it's just a normal one, isn't it? Apart from its secondary effect.
Knife of animate bones, create skeleton.
Yeah. Okay, roll a d3.
Okay, that is 2.
And roll a d6.
4.
Right, so you grab the dagger from your belt, which you've been itching to use for a long time, and hurl it at him. The blade sticks into his chest, but doesn't seem to bother him that much. Part of his body there deflates and fluids, Foul and Icarus, spill out, but that's all. Right. He grasps for Brother Abbas again, but completely fails to hit him. The dagger throws him off balance and he flails around uselessly. Becca's go.
Okay, so I'm 20 yards away. Yep. So
Yeah.
I can't get there in a
You
charge.
can sprint to get in range for melee next turn.
Yeah. So I've got the elementalist sword drawn. Yeah. So I shall.
Okay.
I'll sprint up and I say, Abbas, get back! Get back!
And you pound across the floor, sword at the ready, sort of bring it back ready to swing and charge up ready. Kerridan.
If I am within the 20-meter casting range for Shadow Bolt, I will unleash a Shadow Bolt upon the undead monstrosity.
Okay, you are indeed. So, what's the speed on that?
That is speed, it says, is it 12? 14. What is the speed stat? How does that mechanic work?
Okay, so speed is like a static difficulty, and you use your evasion against speed. So his evasion is 5. Take that away from 14, which means you need to roll 9 or under to hit him with that spell.
Oh. Oh, shite. Okay. Well, here goes nothing. It's on my keyboard. It rolled up and under.
Okay.
Cockeye.
Well, yeah.
15. I don't do it.
Okay. So the bolt flashes, arcs out across the room, misses him, and blows a fist-sized chunk out of one of the columns. Semprino knocks an arrow and fires. What's the range on a bow? I think that's within short range, but I want to be sure. You'd think I'd remember where the page numbers are now.
Is it towards the back of the book?
No, it's towards the front. I should make a quick cheat sheet or something. Yeah, it's within short range. Okay. Right, somehow he conspires to utterly miss and swears under his breath. and blames it's the damp. It's warped my bow. Almiro sets the standard amongst those of you who are stood at the back. Abbas.
I'm going to hit them SOB with a Mystic Blast because I've just discovered I got this rank 5 spell.
Nice. Okay.
Right, I need to do the expiry roll first, don't I?
An exhaustion roll, yeah.
Exhaustion roll.
You still get to cast the spell either way, but yeah.
So it's just straight under 13 because I'm rank 5. It's a rank 5 spell. I'm rank 5, so it's just under 13. Oh, I'm exhausted. I've got 18.
Okay.
Oh, well. It's speed 16. It's a 30 range. I think it should be range. It's speed 16, so I need to roll under
11 or under.
Come on, don't cock this up. Yay! Got it.
How much damage does it do?
Yikes. 3d6 plus 1 minus armor.
Okay, so 3d6 plus 1.
Grim, the weapon ranges are on page 69, and that number is quite easy to remember.
Yes, it is.
8 damage in total.
8 damage.
Minus whatever armor I might have.
Okay. Right, so you sort of concentrate and make the scanner's noise in your head. And those of you who are closer to him, so Abbas and Becca now, hear this sort of throbbing crunch from inside his skull, and it subsides slightly on one side. But he's still going.
When you say it subsides slightly, you mean his skull caves in?
His skull caves in and sort of moves down slightly on one side.
Oh my!
I just gave him a mild enema.
Yeah.
It's the mother of headaches, isn't it?
Right, new turn. Because Garcias just huddles at the back with his daughter. Cesora. Got any more daggers?
Sorry?
Got any more daggers?
We're playing flashbangs. And stink bombs.
Don't you have those throwing spikes as well?
Yeah, I've got throwing spikes as well. Chuck a throwing spike at him. Aim for the chest again.
Throwing spikes.
So you can chuck 3 at a time if you want.
Yeah, true. They're not in the weapons section, are they? They're in the assassin section.
Yeah, I think it's.
Dun, 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 dun.
Is it D2 plus 1?
It's unless you've got the speciality in them.
Yeah. Do you have a throwing spike skill, Cesora? Let's have a look.
I'm an assassin, of course I am.
Yeah, but there's an extra specialization in it you can get. Okay, Shadow Warriors. Throwing spike.
It's on page 43 of the main rules here.
Ordinarily, it's just a D2, D4 weapon. If you have the specialization, it goes up. So, hang on.
He's got armor piercing.
He's got armor piercing, but he doesn't have the throwing spike skill, so he can only throw 1.
Okay.
Okay, so range medium. So take 3 away from your attack and roll.
1. Yay!
So
Plus
crit,
2 than me.
roll 2d4 damage.
First one, 3. Second one, 4. So that's 7.
Ouch.
Right, you hurl 2 of these crescent-shaped throwing spikes that you took from the dead moon ninjas, or whatever we decided to call them. They strike into the cursed undead thing's face, where its skull has already started to split, and tear through the thin parchment of skin and tendons that's still holding the whole thing together. And its head falls apart like a ruined egg, and what remains of it drops to the ground. In its final breath, it whispers something in ancient Amphibian.
Been died.
And how does it as translated?
He said the golden shell. Doesn't make much sense to me. Perhaps it meant something to him.
I will give Kerridan the staff back as well now.
Thank you. Does he have a golden shell? The corpse, is there anything tied to his belt, or maybe a conch? Or
No, just this tatty remnants of this toga. The body is now even more rapidly decomposing and sort of sinking into the cloth.
There was stuff.
and kind of. Oh, sorry.
There was stuff on the altar, wasn't there? That
Yes.
he was leaving it.
On the altar, there was a small bronze horse and a number of clay flasks.
How large are the flasks?
Fairly small, really. Maybe about a pint's worth of fluid or whatever in each.
Perhaps one has shells, like small shells you would gather on the beach, and one is golden. Who knows? Can we crack it open? Anyone object?
It's sealed with beeswax, but you can crack one open if you want.
Yeah, I'll just smash it onto the ground.
Okay.
Do you want to discern them first? Yeah. Hang on. Do you want to discern what they are first, or let me back off a bit?
Of course, I mean, that's why I said, does anyone object? So that'd be me holding one of my hands there. But, and then of course you asked that. So, well, do you want to examine it carefully first?
Well, I haven't got a clue, but it could be enchanted, or it could be a potion or a poison, or.
I couldn't see anything enchanted from the outside of the jar when I looked around the room initially. The only enchanted-looking vibe I got was from the creature we just killed.
Okay. Well, I'll just be I'll err on the side of caution then, and maybe place it back down and get my belt knife out and start trying to unseal the seal.
Yeah, you crack off the ancient beeswax and the stopper within. What's in the pot is sort of dried up waxy substance.
Okay, so tipping it over wouldn't really have it come out.
No, it kind of goes plonk inside but doesn't fall out.
We'll hold off on that one. There was one other jar, correct?
There was
Or a few?
a number of clay flasks, so I don't know, 4 or 5.
I'll move on to the next one. Slow enough for anyone who wants to physically object can do so.
One by one, they all seem to have this same congealed substance in them. Whatever it was has congealed beyond recognition in the intervening millennia.
So much for my idea.
So is this corpse? It's just turned into mush now.
Yeah, it's just basically a spreading black oily stain on the ground now.
Okay, I'll take my dagger and my spike and get out the gunk.
Okay.
You know, when I approached that elemental, the pool where the elemental came from in the previous room,
Yeah.
was one of the 2 seashells gold?
No, they were both silver.
I don't know, silver on it. Oh, fair enough.
Maybe there's a golden one that's missing that we'll have to recover. Does Mistress Edis perhaps have any insights on what the golden shell might be?
Not as of yet. I will let you know if I see anything.
Fair enough, thank you.
Do you want a reminder of the exits and so on here?
Yes, please.
Okay, there was an archway to the northeast, a doorway to the southeast, and now that you've ventured deeper into the room, you can see that there's a slight recess in the southern wall.
Oh, so let's check for traps and hidden compartments, shall we? Let's spread out.
Okay. So you spread out and check around. So there's the columns, the altar, you've already sort of looked into those. The curved walls are impressively accurately put together. exquisite stonework. The archway to the north, east, appears to enter a large hall with no exits, decorated in blue and green tiles, which depict lithe female forms draped strategically in seaweed and surrounded by large crabs and dolphins. There's some water running through the room, but without going on through to search it, you can't really tell much more about it. The doorway in the southeast. So there's a door with a strange depression set into the wall next to it. Like maybe there's some kind of mechanism or something there that might open the door. In the southern wall, there's a small recessed mosaic of a nautilus, a shelled octopoid. The nautilus is extremely exquisitely crafted, the mosaic, using very, very small tiles, and its shell is picked out in gold.
Aha! Maybe that's a trigger point for another door.
Yeah, that reminds me of the kraken that we killed. Hey.
Calamari for days and days and days.
Okay, so you reconvene, having all checked over the room. What next?
I recommend we have one of our expert sleuths, maybe Cesora, check out that gold tile, suss out if there's a mechanism or door or trigger.
Yeah, Captain. Give it a goosey.
Okay, you wander over to it, have a closer look. Yeah, it's just the gold leaf has been worked into the detail on the shell to sort of pick out the spiral pattern on it. It's an extremely finely crafted mosaic, but there is a very, very paper-thin gap around the shell of the nautilus. And when you sort of gently nudge it from the side, it does wiggle slightly, which suggests that it's a catch or button attached to some kind of mechanism.
Okay. Curiosity killed the cat. Oh. Try and see if I can try and release it without setting anything up.
You can't particularly tell if there's any traps or anything connected to it. When you press it in, there's a clunk and a grating noise, and this section of wall slides back and to the left, revealing a small inner chamber.
Just enough for one person, yeah.
Yeah. Beyond the secret door, you spy a small room with rounded edges and a series of gargoyle-like sea creature statues mounted high above on the walls. In the centre of the room stands a metre-tall, delicately carved statue of a young naked nymph, fashioned out of serpentine and brass.
Does anyone want to check these gargoyles, see if they're living or not?
That would be done with an aura reading spell, yes?
That'd be lovely.
Okay.
Well, I can look at them and see if they're enchanted or not, but that's about as far as my.
Yeah, you don't need to cast a spell to do that. So the room itself is enchanted, and the statue of the nymph is it has an aura you've not seen before.
Okay, the nymph statue has an aura I have never seen before in my 20 odd years of being a man of the cloth. the entire room looks enchanted, magical to me, from what I
Isn't
can
them
perceive.
holding anything?
Sorry, what?
Isn't them holding anything like a vase or?
No, she's just standing there.
And how big is this statue? Is it not Titan-sized?
It's fairly small. It's about the same size as Garthias's daughter, who appears to be a sort of tween, so like a 12-year-old child.
I'm. Oh, go ahead. I'm curious about detect aura. If I were to use a spell like that, is it just as simple as it sounds? I'm told what the aura is like, or am I able to, like a connoisseur or a sommelier, am I able to kind of unpack what some of the meaning of auric resonances are like and so on?
I've been playing it by ear and sort of giving details that I thought were appropriate. So.
Okay. Then I will, Brother Abbas. I'll try to confirm or see if I can peel back another layer of the onion. One moment, and I'll begin enchanting or making whatever symbols are appropriate for the spell.
Yeah.
And I'll try to read its aura.
Okay. You open your eyes. The nymph has an aura such as you've never seen before, in much the same way. The aura of magic in the room ties to the elements. The bottom half of the room is extremely tied to the water element, and the roof of the room is extremely tied to the air element. So like two poles of a magnet, water and air.
I will share that information for everyone with everyone, of course, and note that water below, air above. The walls gave no reading or no other indications, I presume, of the other two elements?
No.
Earth and fire? Okay. Water and air.
The aura in the nymph seemed to be concentrated in patterns, lines and circles, like an architect's drawing, or there are some inventors in the employ of the noble houses in Ferromain. You've seen some of their sketches of their war machines or anatomical diagrams. It puts you in mind of that.
Okay, thank you.
From my reading of the statue, I have a feeling that nymph might actually be alive. That's my gut feeling. From the aura I can discern.
She's been there, both the water and the air.
And did you go to college to work that out, Brother Abbas, did you?
No, I just have a gut feeling that it could be alive. Because if it's an aura I'm not familiar with, it could be something entirely that I've never encountered. It could be that it's a magical aura that means that she could actually be alive.
Yeah, I think it's definitely alive, yeah.
Yes, and that sense I got about its aura might indicate complexity of some of the interworking components, like a miller's, in a mill with the stone and the way water power is harnessed through cogs and other things. That's what the aura reminded me of. So
I'm just a bit concerned about what you've managed to discern about the elements from the ceiling and the ground there, the water and the air. If we set foot in the room, what it's going to do to us? Because I've had a bad experience when I walked into a room once. I ended up like on the ceiling, like it felt like I was on the ceiling, and everyone else it looked like I was on the ground. That was a wappy adventure. I've had my fill of enchanted rooms, I'll be honest. And then there was that one time we came across that old, kindly old man, and then the room just seemed to just get a little bigger, and we all just like lost each other in the darkness.
So basically, she's keeping the air, she's keeping the water and the air apart. She's in the middle.
I've got to go take care of something. I'm so sorry. I'll be back in just a moment.
Okay.
And there's no other doors out here bar that one wall which opens up correctly.
Yeah, that's it.
Now we've discerned what's in this room. There's no really put me vibe in the room, really, is there?
Not particularly, no.
No, there's nothing else that could really tell us.
Have we ever encountered automatons before? I don't think we have.
No, you haven't.
Not to my knowledge. Have we got? Is there any spare bits of like rubble or rock lying around at all?
Almost certainly. Yeah, or there's the pots from the.
Well, I just like to pick up like a rock or a pebble and just like throw it into the room just to see if anything happens.
Okay. Yeah, you pick up one of the pots. That's probably the closest thing, and toss that in there. It rattles around and lands on the floor.
Okay.
She's no doubt wanting an audience if someone walks in. I bet you all the money will she'll come to life if someone walks in. It always seems to happen if someone walks into a room where there's a cadaver of unknown origin, it springs to life.
Or some priestly bird walks up to a supplicant man, you know. Gets attacked by an undead creature.
Yeah.
I went first last time. I'm not during the short straw on this one. It's somebody else's turn.
Okay. If no one's going to do it, I'll walk in since I uncovered this.
Okay. Right. You stride forward into the small chamber. The door slams shut again with the power of a guillotine. And the statue suddenly becomes animated, starting to dance an exquisite ballet upon its podium. Well, more like a sensual dance, really. Like a temple.
Does it look like a war dance of death?
No, it looks like a very fluid, sexualized dance. It's hard to believe she's a mechanism, the way in which she moves. For a moment you stare in wonder, until suddenly a stone slab... Well, no, we already did that bit. So you're sealed inside the room. The pretty statue stops its merry dance, cocks its head on one side, and rests its hands on its hips. You all hear a cheery voice inside your heads, speaking in ancient Ophidian, which none of you speak. And within the chamber, salt water suddenly starts to pour in from the mouths of the gargoyles above.
How fast does it flow?
Pretty fast. Like a foot
I've
per
got one or
turn.
two.
So
I've got two options over here.
Sorry, what?
One I can find. No, go back.
we're outside still, are we?
Yeah, you're all outside. The door slammed shut like a guillotine, cutting Cesora off inside. He was treated to a sexy dance, and then water began to pour in from the mouths of the gargoyles.
Well, I tried to activate the door mechanism again.
It does not work.
Does she look coy, the position she's actually standing with her hands on her hips? Does she look coy?
Yeah, but she's now
As a-
still again as a statue.
Okay. I'm going to hate myself for this. I'm going to stab her with my magical sword.
Okay, what's your attack?
20.
Okay, you need a crit to hit her.
Even though she's standing still?
She starts moving the moment you strike at her. So take 19 away from your attack and roll.
You bread. I got a 4.
Okay. So you lash out with the sword and miss. She dances and spins and twists around and swings her foot out in a kick into your back. What's your defense?
11.
You are struck. What's your armor rating?
3.
Kicks you clean through your armor and does you 4 wounds of damage.
Okay.
Right, so you swing with your sword. She shimmers and twists with a dancer's lithe grace and kicks you right in the back with a leg made of stone and metal. You're hurled against the far side of the room, not that there's very far to go, and horribly winded. And as you sort of recover, she's stood back in the original pose again, and the water continues to pour in.
Okay. Have a quick scan across the room. Anything around? Except for her.
Mosaics on the walls. You look up, you see the gargoyles, and then on the very top of the ceiling, there is. So the mosaic blends into a carved face, a big bearded face, with pursed lips and crab claws from his brows like horns.
Basically the god of the sea, yeah?
A god of the sea, not Poseidos, you don't think?
Right. How high up is it?
The whole room is about 10 feet tall. So
Right. If it was
if you stretch and reach and jump, you can touch it. If that's what you're asking.
Or if I chuck a throwing spike at it.
Okay, it goes tink off the surface and drops into the water, which is now about 3 feet high.
Okay then, well, fingers crossed. Jump up and spew it with my sword or whatever.
Okay, you grab your sword, leap up, and jab your sword at the ceiling. It kind of goes tink off it, though being a magical sword, it cuts the stone a little bit and chips it. The water continues to rise. It seems to be flying faster now.
Jim, what are the doors? What are the doors actually made of? Is it stone or wood?
Oh, stone. It's like a section of the wall slid back into place.
I'll do it again, Grim.
Okay, you jump up again. Tink doesn't seem to have any effect. The water's sort of up around your chin now. But it's strangely warm.
Oh god, the gods are pissed in the sea, that's all I need.
It's warm and yellow and frothy. Here come the warm jets.
Oh god, you're gonna be sick thoughts now. I was gonna sort of like taste it, sort of like just put my pink in and just like dab it on my tongue to see if it's salt water.
It's salty.
And it's fresh. It's drowning tonight.
Right, the water rises and rises. It's higher than your head now. With all your gear and everything, you have to fight quite hard to keep your head above water.
Is she still motionless now?
She's still motionless.
So every time I make a move, she makes a move, right?
Yeah.
Did she actually dance in any specific pattern, or was it just random?
It seemed reactive to you, the same way a fencing partner would react. So with intelligence, not a pattern.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
Did we hear what she said, or was the door already shut?
You all heard what she said in your minds, but it was in Amphibian.
Oh, right. So let's check with Mistress Edas. What
she didn't hear it.
Could we repeat it back so she could translate it?
Roll a d20 equal to or under your intelligence to do so.
Okay. Intelligence. Yep.
Okay.
Just.
You close your eyes and you concentrate. Yeah, and you say the phrase as best you can. Barwa neep gra wheat ninny bong or something. Was it bar? No, I can't remember it.
Barwa neep bra nitty bum. Yeah, that's it.
Right, she says, it said, kiss Oceanus to prove your love for him.
Kiss what?
Oceanus.
Right.
All right.
Do I hear this?
Kiss the statue you were stabbing. Kiss the statue you were stabbing.
Could have been worse. It could have been kiss Uranus, couldn't it?
Yeah.
I float up to the ceiling and kiss this the bust on the wall, the ceiling.
Okay, you pull yourself up through the water as best you can. Yeah, there's still a bit of an air gap, but you sort of lunge up and plant a smacker on Beardy's lips.
Yep.
As you do, fresh air is blown into your lungs, and then the water starts to drain out again.
And what's she doing? Still motionless.
Still motionless. The water drains all the way out of the room, leaving you standing there dripping and soaking. She steps down off her plinth, puts her hands between her slight breasts, and pulls open her brass chest plate. Inside, you can see a small sphere spinning around and around, jetting steam. And in front of that is a little tray, upon which is a little gold nautilus, which she plucks out with her fingers and offers to you as she closes her chest.
Cautiously, I'll take it.
Okay, it's like a cloak pin, that sort of thing, a brooch. As you take it, she steps back up onto the plinth and goes still again. And then the door slides back open.
Someone's been watching Metropolis.
A very wet
come on.
and drippy Caesura is re-revealed to his companions.
I'm wet as a fucking rat. Oh, God. Oh.
But you do have a shiny new brooch.
You numpty.
Okay. Oh. I need a vacation.
How was the water, Cesar?
Warm. And salty. And yellow. Or was it green? I couldn't remember. I'll salute to her, Jim, as in her general direction, and I'll sort of like start like ringing my equipment I need to
Keep dry.
get in the water.
Yeah.
Get it dry. Yeah.
Can I have a quick gander at the brooch to see if it might be enchanted or anything for him?
It is enchanted.
Whatever this is, it's enchanted, so keep it close. You never know; it might be handy. Might be a clue. Might be a clue to something else we come across later on.
Or it might be something to keep me under the water long enough. Ugh.
Oh yeah, a brooch on water breathing. That really rolls off the tongue.
It's one of them things on our shopping list that a brooch program.
Sorry, what?
It was one of the lost treasures a brooch by any chance. Just to remind myself again.
Garcias didn't mention that, no.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to tell him then.
Well, I'm glad I didn't go in there, Garcias says.
Why? Can you not swim when you do the doggy paddle?
Not very well. And these clothes are quite expensive.
I'm just going to give him a slightly contempt stare, as if to say, and just shake my head at him.
He it stoically ignores your glare.
Just going to mumble stubborn ass under my breath.
So, where next, stout adventurers? You must clear the path ahead.
There were two exits from this room, weren't there? And,
There was a door to the southeast and the archway to the northeast. The archway went through to where the running water was and the nymph mosaics, and the doorway was a door with a strange mechanism next to it. Or at least a depression where a mechanism should go.
Alright, shall I, there we got the nymphs. Becca has had some immunity to nymphs in the past.
Yeah. Okay. So
And I put on the helm of Typhon as well, because I can't speak. Yeah.
So with the others in tow, you move to the northeast archway, and with them guarding your back. Stepping through the archway, you enter a large hall. Its floor is a bright mosaic of blue and green tiles that depict a lithe female form, much the same as the statue, draped in seaweed and surrounded by large crabs and dolphins. A rivulet of water, with us adding a salt tang to the air, runs as though from a spring in the centre of the room, and through an oddly shaped blue-green stone archway at the other end, that can only be described as somewhat like a rounded lozenge. The space beyond the archway is obscured by a swirling veil of mist, which smells of sea spray.
Does the statue look like the previous nymph, or is that totally different figurine?
Yeah, the mosaics look very similar to the to the nymph statue, but more grandiose.
Are there any gold tiles?
Almost certainly, but it'll just be like a very thin sort of foil layer.
Gold leaf.
Or any Nautilus tiles?
No, you don't see any of those in here. Mostly crabs and dolphins, a few colourful shallow sea type fish.
So there's a fountain or spout coming from the floor, and it's
Yeah,
trickling off towards through this archway.
Yeah, so there's a small sort of almost like a spring, except it's salt water, and then it runs along the floor here. It doesn't seem to have damaged any of the tiles or anything over the years. And then at the far end, there's this sort of misty swirl, which smells much more strongly of like fresh sea spray.
Is there any other exits or anything in the room?
No.
Any illusions in the room, Grim?
There are no illusions in the room, which makes the portal at the other end slightly more unsettling, if anything. It reminds you a little of the portals in the elemental statues way back when.
Yeah, so I'll cautiously move towards this lozenge-shaped portal.
Okay.
And I'll pause before going through.
Okay, you step forward, moving along the room, and the tiles seem to be set up in such a way as to create a sort of optical illusion. So as you move through the room, the slightly different viewing angle on the mosaics makes them appear to move and shimmer, and the nymph-like woman to turn and look at you. But you back up and she turns away again. Yeah, it's definitely a purely technical visual illusion rather than anything magical. So, and then you reach the far end, and there is this swirling portal of mist and greenish seawater, just hot but vertical.
Well, I'll go through then.
Okay. Right, you step through the portal. You're immediately plunged into absolute darkness, apart from a very pale bit of light coming from behind you. The breath is crushed out of your body instantly, and all your breath goes out of your mouth and nose. Everything hurts like it's being hammered on from all directions at once. You vaguely see a couple of feminine forms moving around in the darkness, sort of glowing slightly. But you can feel your bones starting to creak and maybe even crack, and you've got no breath. You're going to drown any second.
Can I go back to the portal?
Make a strength roll. It's a D20 strength or under.
11. Yeah, made it.
Okay, you desperately scramble back towards the portal. You still take 8 wounds of damage. And haul your way back through the portal and reappear, soaked to the skin, shuddering. As you come out, you get covered in like a sheet of ice. Like whatever water you were in was sub-freezing temperature, but couldn't turn solid because of the pressure. As you come out here, it forms a shell over your body that sort of instantly cracks. You gulp for breath. You feel like your elk charged into your chest.
I will rush forward to tend to Becca as best I can.
Wait. Whew, was it? So it's like super cooled water.
Yeah. But so as you fall out, falling out with you comes a large sort of woman's hairpin, such as the people of your tribe and some of the Viking-like tribes wear. So it's like a curved brooch with a big silver pin that runs through it. But this one's packed out with 6 large black pearls.
So this pin, is it stuck in me or?
No, it just came out with you in the sort of spill of water, like it was thrown after you.
Whoa. Oh, that was like taking a bath in the gnarling waste.
Oh, you take 1 less damage. Sorry, you've all got... Well, some of you have that slight immunity to cold, so you only take 7 wounds.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Thank you, Kara, didn't you? I think I passed the test. I'll pick the brooch up.
Okay, it's... well, people looking on don't see any sort of magical aura hanging around it, but black pearls of this size are incredibly rare. And once you scrape the ice off the metal, it's gold, you think? Maybe white gold. The whole thing's probably worth 200 crowns just by itself.
Oh, well, I'm not sure if I passed that test, but that was certainly a test of strength.
So if you
Probably
did the
worked
test, did I do the test of stamina?
Right, I wouldn't advise anyone else going in there. Let's move on, shall we?
Yeah, you're probably shaking from the cold, but with the healing magic that helps a lot, at least with the bruising and crushing.
Did I see these illusions come to life when Becca was moving in?
No, it's not. It's an optical illusion. You have to move through the room to see it.
Oh, right, got you. Oh.
So the only way you haven't gone is the actual door with the depression next to it.
You want me to lead Bex?
Well, I don't mind. I mean, I've been healed, so I'm just a bit shaken up. But
yeah, okay.
I've recorded the magic point expenditure.
Okay. It's another heavy, exquisitely engineered stone door. The depression to the side of it is actually more of a hole where perhaps something used to be put and turned, some kind of primitive key or something. But whatever it is
brooch size
is not there.
Is it brooch size too?
Is it brooch size, did you say?
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's bigger than that.
Unless you put your hand in there. Suppose there'll be a hidden thing. Does anyone want to risk it for a chocolate biscuit?
I could do it with the glove on.
Yeah, I was
Drew?
going to say, put your hand in with the glove. Yeah.
Okay, so you thrust your gauntleted hand into the hole and feel around. You can feel a T-shaped piece of what feels like metal, but it's probably bronze, so it's not that strong. So it's like the T is flat and the crossbar is towards you.
I can feel something in here, but can't really get it out. It's like a crossbar.
Could be a latch. It could be a latch to open up doors from the other side. You know what I mean? You put it like that, you know?
Yeah, it could.
Well, I'm putting my guard out just in case if he does say open this door. I'm ready.
Okay. Yeah, after what happened last time, everyone huddles really close to the door.
It's up to you, Abbas.
Okay, I'll try it.
What are you doing to it?
I'll try turning it or something like that. See if it'll turn.
Okay. It turns, but it's got quite a lot of resistance. But it is turning. And then it gives and clunks. The door swings open, but there is a sound like something big dropping or breaking from inside the wall that sort of echoes around the room. And a load of dust falls down from the ceiling.
Please tell me that the door is not big enough for a ball to come chasing after us like
No.
thank God for that.
But yeah, the door is open.
How far is the corridor?
Looking inside, there's maybe a 5-meter long corridor that then opens out into another room, but the lamplight with all these people in front of it can't really reach too far in.
Fuck up here! I'm going to run down the corridor.
Okay. As you move down the corridor, there's another sort of loud thumping noise from the oval room behind you. Everyone's still in. And a big crack appears in one of the walls.
I'm just going to carry on running
Okay.
into
The rest of you moving through?
Yeah.
I think.
It seems, yes.
Okay.
I perceive this crack
Yeah.
is is it Gemma going to collapse or
It looks like it's very slowly falling apart. So behind you, you can hear the occasional thump of pieces of ceiling falling down, but you're through, and this room seems to be secure. So you enter a small rectangular chamber. Well, small relative to some of the other chambers you've been in. There's a passageway back the way you came, and there's a thinner wooden brass door to the southwest because it's off at an angle. Otherwise, a brass and tin mosaic encrusted with abalone and scallop shells adorns the walls, floor, and ceiling of this chamber. Before you, in the darkness, you can see 3 brass chests on the floor. Each is marked with a glyph. One has a flame, one a shield, and one a dolphin. The whole chamber is about 30 meters wide. I keep underestimating the scale of this place. And there are words in ancient Amphibian engraved in the floor in the mosaic.
That's something that Mr. Zedas can read then, yes?
Yes, so you can wave your skull staff over there. She says, God, this is tedious. You'll have to learn the language. It says, wonders forged in honor of our Lord. Each chest is about 1 meter long and about a half meter wide, and made of solid brass.
I'll share the translation with everyone, and of course, it seems we've arrived in the treasure room.
The antechamber. Right,
Yes.
who's walking in first this time? I'll look at the boat. Well, the boat I got from my little nymphet friend. Has it got a dolphin on it or any symbols on it?
It's a Nautilus brooch.
Right, not this one. Right, none of them.
No.
Right. I'll cautiously walk up to the dolphin chest.
Okay, so you creep into the room. Nothing immediately kills you or comes to life or sprays water on you or anything like that. You move before the dolphin chest. Okay,
Yep.
it's a brass chest with a sort of dolphin relief on the tops and sides.
Scan the room with Cyclops.
You do not see any illusions.
Okay. As I'm scanning around, do I get a chance of pointing the sword at his lordship's daughter by any chance at the same time as I'm scanning?
Well, you just have to hold the sword. But yeah, you don't see any. Nothing changes about her.
Yeah. Has she got an illusion around herself? Or?
No, just a big heavy cloak.
Do you guys want me to open this or not? Becca?
Well, yes, I think we have to. We're looking for the compass, aren't we? And any other stuff. Yes, just be careful.
Okay, tries to open cautiously.
What's your strength? What's your strength? 10.
10.
Okay, roll d20, strength or under.
8. 2
Okay.
under.
It's pretty heavy, but you manage to prise the lid up and lift it off, sliding it to one side without crashing it down. Inside this great big chest, all there is, laid on a silken pillow, which is remarkably well preserved. All there is in here is a small dolphin-shaped mother-of-pearl brooch, inlaid with silver.
Is there any visible traps or anything in the inside of this chest?
No, they don't appear. Nothing immediately that you can see. You can make a trap sense roll if you want.
Well, won't that be under intelligence?
You've got that special ability for trap sense. Should be under your skills and abilities bit.
I'm just looking at my abilities now. I don't see it.
Let me find your character sheet.
Combat technique, mental technique. In a sense, right, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So I have to get under D20 under psychic talent, that's 11. Roll a D20, fingers crossed. 10. 1 under.
Okay. You feel like you've developed this sort of sixth sense for traps. You feel that there is a trap here, but it's not going to go off, which is a weird sensation to have, because you haven't done anything to disable any traps. So it's a bit weird.
Okay.
But it's the kind of sense you get when you have disarmed a trap.
So it's a good feeling then, not a bad feeling.
Yeah. But there's still that
Okay.
kind of implicit threat, and that thrill that you shouldn't be here, shouldn't be doing what you're doing, but it's safe to do so.
Right, okay. Curiosity kill the cat. Cautiously take it out in the chest. Cautiously.
Okay, you take out the brooch. It's very well made, though the materials aren't perhaps as good and the workmanship isn't quite as detailed as people can manage now. But it's still very, very pretty, very nice. When you turn it over, yeah, it's a brooch or a cloak pin, but the pin on the back of the brooch is caked in very old, very dry blood.
Ah, well, okay. Does it look like someone's been pricked by it?
It does look like someone's been pricked by it.
Okay. Carefully, I put it in one of my many pouches I have.
Okay.
Oh. Do you want me to open up the other ones while I'm here, Becca?
Yeah, I can help you if you need the strength. If they're difficult to open, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. You can open them without having to make a roll. So, all right. So Becca comes in and muscles up to the next chest. Which one do you want to open next? The flame or the shield?
The shield.
Yeah, the shield, yeah.
Okay. You heft the heavy brass lid off. This chest contains a brass wrist guard, which has been worked into the likeness of fish scales.
Yeah.
So, a bracer.
Any traps or anything in here, or is
No,
same feeling as before?
same feeling as before.
Okay.
What is a short wrist guard, not or to the elbow?
Most of the forearm, not quite all the way to the elbow.
So it's like a torso gauntlet without the fingers bit. Yep.
Yeah, it stops at the wrist.
Did any of you see the cheesy American Hercules show with Kevin Sorbo?
Yes.
He wore it.
Yeah.
That was
Yes.
cute, yeah. Kevin Sorbo, I don't like him really. He's something about him I don't like.
Yeah, he's a bit of a knobber.
Okay.
So, was it made of? Was this bronze? Did you say
Brass.
brass?
And now we've got the flame one left.
Yep. Gonna have to open.
Yeah. Cautiously. Yep. Look down that slow.
Okay. You heft it open, and the lid falls down with a clang. There are 3 roughly fist-sized sort of soda glass vials in here. They have short necks, which are stoppered with wax, and they're half full of some kind of fluid.
More potions.
Antidotes. Yeah. So we've got a bracer, we have air tubes, and we have.
So, what were the items of legend that
Well, he steps forward now that you've opened all 3 and looks like, no, this isn't it. None of this is it. We need to keep going.
Yeah, I get that. Let's trouser this stuff then carefully.
Okay.
Yeah.
You scoop one of the glass things out. As
Yeah.
you sort of lift it in your hand, the contents slosh around slightly, and they glow with a faint phosphorescence. And that glow sort of wraps around the top of the glass, and then dies down when you stop moving.
Since I know basics of alchemy, Grim, would you say it's like a fluorescent glow tube?
No, it's not that strong a glow, but you do have some alchemical knowledge, as does Keridon, who's now able to see it. Can you both make intelligence rolls, please?
Okay. Rolled a 10.
And I got a 9.
Is that under your intelligences?
Indeed it is.
You gasp in astonishment when you see the vial glow. It looks like Amphibian fire, which is a secret that has been lost to alchemy for a very long time. It's said to be an unquenchable flame that the Amphibians use to great effect in battle.
So Greek fire, basically.
Yeah.
Nathan. Okay.
Well,
You want one, Keridon?
well, I think this has funded the trip, isn't it? Just this one find here.
Yeah, I think perhaps we should have them separated so the rest-
Separated.
the 3 potions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
So
give one
what?
to Keridon, one to Becca, and one for myself.
Okay.
And do not use it, says Aura. Do not even think about using it.
Okay.
I'm not a pyromaniac. I may be a flashbanger. I may be a stink bomber, but I'm not a pyromaniac.
When Kerridan gets hold of the flask, the glass feels thin. You've heard that ancient glass can flow very, very slowly, like water, and that very, very ancient glass can return to sand from whence it came. It seems like some of this has, so the glass is very dangerously thin.
Everyone, you've got to be extremely careful with these. The glass has deteriorated and aged. It's no longer integral.
Hence why I said, I may be a flashbanger, I may be a stink bomber, I'm definitely not a pyromaniac.
I think we should try and pad them extra well with some of our extra clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that with my one as well. Good.
Was there any padding in the chest? Was there?
Yeah, there was.
cushion
They
or
were
anything?
they were on silk cushions and wrapped in silken cloth. So, and then most of that's still relatively intact. So you can use some of that to wad around it.
Yeah, to cushion it.
Yeah.
Is it? So I think perhaps it'd be easier to keep them together, to give them to a sensible person and to pack it out properly,
Sounds like a plan.
rather than half-heartedly try and pack 3 separately.
Yes, actually, that's a much safer approach than my instinct to separate them, because in one way I was hoping to diffuse the risk, but at the same time, 3 possible falls or mistakes or anything rather than just one. So
Yeah.
your
So
route's much safer, back in one bag.
So who's going to keep them then?
Well, I nominate Brother Abbas or Kerridan, really, I think.
I'll carry them then. I'll examine them every day, and actually, that's actually risky as well. Why unpack them? I'll carry them if need be. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think you understand that the nature of the instantaneous death that could occur if you disrespect them.
Yes. I won't be tossing them about.
Oh God, what have we done? What have we
Just
done?
hope there are no earthquakes.
And then when we get back to Pheromone, you can try to reverse engineer one in the lab when the rest of us are in Albion.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Let's dissect it. Yep.
Right. We'll do one more room and then we'll break for tonight, as my voice is
No
going for some reason. Okay, so the only way out from here that's really left to you is to take the door in the southwest. Okay. So you ease the wooden door open on its ancient and corroded hinges, and it opens out into a much larger version of the room that you just left, really. There's another door directly opposite where you came through, and another one in the southeast. You enter a large chamber built entirely of white marble, speckled with silver flecks that glitter in the lamplight. Rows of columns run the length of the room, while between them sit 3 deep pools of water. Each pool seems to glow with a strange, faint blue luminescence. The centre pool has a low ramp that leads down to it. In the opposite wall, you see a brass door, while a bronze door is set in the right-hand wall.
Any illusions, Grim?
No.
I don't like this. My bat sense is tingling.
There are 2 doors, you said. One brass, one bronze.
Yep. The bronze one is directly opposite you. The brass one is in the southeast wall.
And 3 pools.
3 pools. One of which has a ramp leading down to it.
Do they look like bats?
You don't think so? They look too deep to be bards. I mean, the darkness means you can't see that deeply into the pools, but they seem to go too deep to be bards.
Can I sample the water? Just a drip or two off of a finger onto tongue?
Yeah, which pool? Left, right, or middle?
I'll go with the middle one first.
Okay. So you move down the slight slope to the edge of the pool. Dip your finger in and taste it. It's salty seawater.
Okay. I'll try the one on the left.
Okay, the one on the left. Yep, seawater again. This one feels warmer than the middle pool, though.
Warm. Okay.
You
then
catch a glimpse of gold beneath the water here.
Okay. The water here is warmer, and there's a glitter of gold down there, but I couldn't make it out exactly. But again, seawater. I'll try the last one. Wonder if this will be cold.
This one's slightly warm again, and yeah, seawater again.
Seawater.
Well, not warm, just warmer than the middle one.
Okay.
So milder, proper.
Must be where the 3 water bears live.
It'd be hippogrees.
Could there be any significance in the material the two different doors are made of, brass and bronze?
Not hugely. I think they would have valued bronze more than brass.
Brother Abbas, can I borrow your gauntlet for a sec?
Certainly.
Right. I'll walk up to the one which has got the gold in it, Grim.
The colder one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Put the gauntlet on. Do I see the gold as well?
Yes, you can see a faint glitter of gold deep in the pool.
Careful, I'm going to put my gauntlet hand in.
Okay.
Slowly.
Splush. Yep, it's cold seawater. When you put your arm a bit further in, you can feel a slight current sort of tugging at your arm.
I'll try and see if I can get a hold of the gold thing. Gold,
You think you'll have to dive in and swim down to get it. It's too deep to just reach.
Okay. Curious to kill the cat. Take all my backpack and that off.
Yep.
Put on the nautilus, if I remember correctly, is a shellfish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like an octopus stuffed in a curly shell.
I'll put that brooch on, but take my backpack and that off,
Yeah.
and then go in.
Okay. You dive into the water, and you sort of hit the surface and skid across it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't stand on the water, but it's like you're 3 or 4 times as buoyant as you should be.
So basically, something is keeping me afloat.
Yeah. You can't walk on water, but yeah, you're about 3 to 4 times as buoyant.
I'll take the nautilus brooch off.
You sink into the water immediately.
Right. I'll sink down to the bottom.
Okay, you pull at the water and swim down as hard as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Your eyes adjust a little. The others, the men-at-arms, light another lantern and hold it over on a pole so you can see a bit better. As you get towards the bottom of the pool, it's a lot deeper than you thought. You see the remnants, the skeletons of horses laying around you. It's yellowed rib cages, spines, skulls. Maybe a dozen horses seem to have been drowned in here, but they're all clustered at one end. And in amongst the skeletons are a few ancient gold coins, which must be what the glitter was coming from.
Hmm. Is it like a handful of gold coins or just one or two?
Yeah, it's a handful and they're all scattered about.
Okay, I'll stuff this back up.
Okay, make a d20 roll your strength or under.
8, 2 under.
Okay, it's a bit of a struggle. The current's stronger than you thought, but you managed to burst out the surface and take a breath.
Okay. Well, guys, someone's taken the horses to the pool for a drink, and the horses never came back. And there's nothing down there. I reckon it's a sacrificial pool.
Yeah, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't give it gills.
Yep. And the Nautilus coach I bought makes me float. So that's one thing I know what it does. I'll check the other two.
Okay. Since you're already wet, I suppose. Does anyone object?
No, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Okay, you dive down into another one. There's no current in this one. And the water's slightly warmer. Well, just not as cold. When you reach the bottom here, the faint, dim, distant lamplight and your adjusting eyes see that there's a bunch of broken oars down here, weighted down with lead. And a few broken remnants of model ships also weighted down.
Okay. Come back up.
Yeah. Trudge over to the last pool and dive in.
Yep.
Right. You swim all the way down. There seem to be a bunch of bits of jewellery as offerings in here. Lots of bronze, mother of pearl, a little amount of silver. But there seems to be one golden object down here.
Surprise, surprise.
When you get closer to it, it appears to be a scallop shell, but made of gold.
Okay.
It's about palm-sized. From the weight of it, if you want to touch it. Do you want to touch it?
Pure secure the hat. I'm putting my gauntlet hand to touch it, yeah.
No, you haven't given that back yet.
Nope.
Yeah, it seems to be solid gold from the weight of it.
Okay. Does it come willingly, or do I have to force it?
Oh, it comes willingly. It's just heavy and awkward to swim with,
Okay.
but there's no current to pull you down. So,
Okay. I'll pick it up.
yeah, you managed to get back up to the surface with the shell.
Mhm. Give brother this gauntlet back.
Yeah. Your mystic vision notes that the shell has a very slight magical aura.
That's basically it. Does my sea enchantment relate to that as well?
Yes. So you can see that it's very, very slightly enchanted.
So we've got a Nautilus, a dolphin, a scallop. What else have we got?
I think that's it so far.
Nautilus,
Be enough.
scallop.
Well, and the
And-
Greek fire.
Yeah.
And
Couple of pigs and a cow, and we get surf and turf, right?
I'll show Brother Abbas the brazier.
oh, the wrist guard as well.
Yeah. Did you get anything from that?
What were you showing him?
The bracelet, the scary
the
bracelet
bracer.
thing you did.
Yeah, that's magical in some way.
Oh, right, okay. So all the artifacts we've picked up so far have got something to do with magic, but we don't know what. Except for the Nautilus one, which makes me float.
Right. So,
We'll call it the brooch of buoyancy.
No, the brooch of Nautilus.
Bob.
It grants you the power of half a Jesus.
Oh, go away.
Right, we'll call it there then for tonight. We'll come back on Saturday, and we should be able to do the rest of the dungeon. And I think more people will be able to be here Saturday. So,
Well, how are they going to find us? Are we going back up surface, or we're going to stay down here for the night?
We're pausing, so you freeze frame until next time.
No, I'm on about the others. How are they going to find us?
They were with you the whole time.
Oh, isn't that sweet? Oh.
Yeah.
Friends
Right.
to the end.
So if you're watching at home, we'll be back at Saturday, 7:30 UK time. Tatty bye.
No problem.